I ruined my parents' relationship over reading mail. I, 24F, don't want to say what I do for work, but let's just say it's the type of job that includes a lot of written letters from clients that are supposed to be confidential and only for my eyes. I'm fresh out of college and living with my parents so I can finish paying off for school. My work letters of course go to my parents' address since they live miles away from a post office and driving to a P.O. box is a huge pain. The issue started with my father. Ever since high school, when I received mail, my dad would open it. Whenever I received Christmas/birthday cards in the mail with money in them, my dad would hand me the card and insist he'll keep the money safe for me until I demanded he hand it over. Any package I would order for myself he would open and hand to me. Sometimes the products were used by him as well. The final straw was when he received my acceptance letter to my dream college, and instead of waiting for me to come home to open it, he opened it himself and called me while I was at work to congratulate me. I've spoken to my mother about how much this makes me feel uncomfortable, and she told me she'd speak to my father about it, to which he would apologize and not do it for a week before doing it again the next week. I had also spoken to my dad about the confidentiality of the mail I would be receiving now that I'm working, and he says he understands, but it all came crashing down a few weeks ago. While I was working, my dad came into my room and handed me opened envelopes from my clients and even tried to have a conversation about it with me, but I just ignored him until he got the hint and left. After work, I yelled at him for violating client confidentiality, to which he got defensive and said that I live in his house and any mail sent to his house would be read by him. Furious, that next week I thought I would take revenge on my father by going to the mailbox and reading his mail. But what I found was what ended my relationship with him. I had found credit card statements on jewelry and restaurants that were too fancy for my dad to go to alone, and I don't remember the last time my dad took my mom on a date nor bought her any jewelry. I also found a letter addressed to my dad from a woman who stated how tired she was for hiding this relationship for so long and how she is so desperate for his letters to reach her. When my dad noticed the mailbox was empty, my dad ran back in the house as white as a host. He walked into the kitchen to see me and my mom in the kitchen reading his mail. Before the fighting could start, my mom asked me to leave the house. So I drove to my aunt's, who lives 45 minutes away, and explained everything. I came back after 2 days when my dad's stuff was gone. My mom told me my dad's living in a hotel and she will be in contact with a divorce attorney. Turns out my dad has been having an affair with a family friend, and we're hiding it through letters. Leave no digital footprint. My dad ended up showing my mom the stash of letters he had, and she took photos of each and every single letter before she asked him to leave. I feel at fault because I at first wanted to be petty with my dad, but it unraveled into this huge event and made me think, oh, wonder he's been looking through my shit. He was giving himself away. I feel like I shattered my mom's world, since I can hear her cry every night about it since the incident. Edit/update. Thank you all so much. I wrote this all out last night, drunk off my mind, and I never expected this much kindness from strangers. I'll go ahead and answer a few questions here and then give an update. Was my dad using my money from the gifts to buy stuff for his mistress? I'm 50-50 on this answer. I received cards when I was young with money, and it was the same routine. Aunts and uncles would leave $100 per card, and my dad always gave them to me when I was younger. As I got older, obviously the money reduced to $20 to $40. I do believe my dad would give me back half my money in those cards back, which would make sense as to how he was able to make such huge expenses on his mistress. I need to collect proper evidence, so I plan on calling my aunts and uncles and other relatives who would send me money. The mistress would send letters addressed as a business or a credit card company. If you ask me, they were doing the most. When my mom would check the mail, she would see the letters that were addressed to my dad as bills or some crazy BS and never open them because she doesn't handle the bills. A lot of packages were sent by the mistress as well, which is why he went through my packages, and I don't want to imagine what kind of crap she was mailing him. Now for the update. Like I said before, it's been a few weeks since it happened. I've been doing my best to comfort my mother while she deals with all the legal business and my dad's constant appeals to my mom to apologize and beg for forgiveness. I've been here to listen to her, and she keeps spiraling between wanting to forgive him and cursing him to hell. I told her my own personal opinion, which was to never take back a cheater. She did basically everything for him, and she shouldn't see it as her not being enough for him. That's his fault for not appreciating her. The mistress also was a married woman. My mom reached out to her husband, sending him the letters she had taken photos of, even had a long phone call with him about what was going on. He initiated the divorce, and the mistress is now angry at my father for not being more careful. The mistress's ex-husband, who I'll call Henry, has been a best friend of my mom's throughout the legal cases. I hear the mistress is still reaching out to forgive him, which I honestly think is very funny since my dad is doing the same thing. She was financially dependent on Henry, and my dad isn't making enough at his job to support the lifestyle she wants. Yesterday, Henry asked my mom to come out to lunch with him. They've been sad shut-ins for the past few days, and they agreed to go and get some fresh air. I encouraged my mom to do such and to call me if my dad or the mistress decide to show face when they went, just so I could pick her up. My dad hasn't apologized to me at all about reading my mail. In fact, he's called me and left me voicemails telling me that this whole situation was my fault, then going and crying saying he regrets everything and he hopes he can still be my dad. I honestly don't know what to do with him right now other than ignore him. I don't know if there will be another update, but I will if something major happens. Again, thank you so much for the supportive comments, and I hope some of what I said clears things up for you all. Me, 23F, with my friend, 26F, of 2.5 years, who was rude to me and my boyfriend, 26M, and now I don't want to include her in our new D&D campaign. How do I tell her? Hi relationships, I have a friend, who we'll call Beth, 26F, who recently went through a pretty bad breakup in late August. She's been really upset about it, and I've been a major support for her during the pre-breakup, the breakup, and the post-breakup drama. Beth definitely considers me one of her best friends, and while I consider her a close friend, she doesn't really make the top 3. I've been friends with her for 2.5 years, but a year of that time we didn't live in the same city. I was also friends with her now ex-BF first and became friends with her after, and am still friends with the now ex-BF. Both Beth and her now ex-BF were part of a D&D group that was comprised mostly of her friends, but after the breakup, the group said they wanted him to stay and Beth could leave if she wasn't comfortable with that, and she did chose to leave. I don't know why they picked the boyfriend over her, but it could be because she was shitty, or it could be that he was just more fun to play with, plus he painted little figures for all of them, plus they felt bad for him. The breakup was kind of Beth's fault. I started dating this new guy in July, who we'll call Matt, and I really like him. A month ago we decided to hold a board game night with one of his friends, and I invited Beth and her new boyfriend, because I thought it would be fun for Matt to meet Beth, plus we needed more players. At the games night, Beth was super disrespectful and wasn't a team player. Matt spent 30 minutes reading the complex rules, and Beth said, "Yeah, I didn't listen to any of that, and I'm just going to ask you about everything LOL," which obviously made Matt a bit annoyed. She proceeded to ask basic questions about the rules, which meant we had to spend another 20+ minutes explaining everything to her. Also, she and her boyfriend refused to fight each other and were super annoying together, so it really impacted the strategic element of the game because they were instant allies. Later, Matt made a strategic move to invade her lands because it was the easiest thing for him to do in order to get more points, and he was apologetic, but taking other people's lands is the point of the game. She got super upset and decided to go take a smoke break, so we all had to wait for her, and then was pouty and rude for the rest of the game. She also made out with her boyfriend in the middle of the game quite a bit, not just a fun kiss, like full-on kissing and mild groping. After she left, both Matt and his friend were like, "Well, that was awkward. Your friend kinda sucked," and I felt the same way. She was bratty in front of my new boyfriend and his close friend, who I was trying to make an impression on. I saw her a week or so later, and towards the end of our visit she said, "By the way, if you and Matt are starting up a new D&D campaign, let me know, because I got kicked from the other one and I really want to play again, and you should include me." And I was like, "Oh yeah, maybe. I don't know if Matt's group is going to start one anytime soon because they just finished one and tried to be super non-committal." I mentioned that she wanted to join D&D to Matt, and he was firmly against it based on her behavior from the board game night. Well, Matt and his friends decided they want to start a new campaign in the coming weeks, and we did a trial run this last weekend, and all of his friends said I was great, despite being brand new to D&D, and fit right in, and I'm super excited. The people who are playing are Matt's core friends and their girlfriends, one of which is the same friend who was there at the board game night and witnessed Beth's behavior. I don't want to include Beth in the group. I'm certain she'll flake on the night we've decided on sometimes, because she babysits on occasion, plus she's perpetually 30+ men late to everything, and I know that Matt and his friend don't want her there either. Also, I'm sure that if we invite her, we'll have to invite the boyfriend, who's a cool guy, but I don't really wanted them making out and being annoying together in the campaign. However, this campaign is going to go on for months, and I don't really want to have to lie to her about my plans every Friday night if she asks to hang out. Another piece to add her is that since the breakup, she feels a lot of her friends are making plans without her and she's feeling really alone and isolated. I don't want to contribute to that, but these also aren't her friends or my friend even, they're my boyfriend's friends. Should I tell her that yes, a D&D campaign is starting but we already have a lot of people in the party and she's not invited? Or conveniently forget she asked to join and bring it up a couple weeks after the campaign is going? But with this option she might ask to join anyway because I think you can do that, not sure, I'm a D&D noob, not tell her at all and make a different excuse every Friday night for the next 6+ months? Tell her she sucks and I don't feel comfortable including her because I can't trust her not to be a brat/drama queen or bail last minute on the evening? TLDR, my close friend wants to join D&D with me and my newish boyfriend plus his friends, but she made a terrible impression on them before and I don't trust her not to be brat again if she joins. She doesn't know that we're starting a new campaign this week. How do I tell her she can't join us? Or do I tell her at all? Update. Hi relationships. While my original post didn't get much attention, wanted to provide an update as the advice I got was super helpful. I ended up not mentioning the D&D campaign to her and she never really brought it up, and when she did I kept it super vague. The friendship slowly started to fade and we got coffee about 6 months after my post and she spent the entire time talking about herself and life and barely asked me anything about mine. Like of a 2-hour coffee, I maybe spoke for 10 minutes max. I was happy to let the friendship fade because of some other shitty behavior from her, but finally she confronted me over Facebook about it all and I decided to tell her I just didn't want to be friends anymore and I wished her all the best. I felt pretty bad, as it wasn't the nicest thing, but I genuinely wasn't keen on staying her friend and was hoping she'd take the hint and just let it fade, and at least she has that closure of me formally ending the friendship. Ick. Based on her social, looks like she has lots of great friends now and things are going well for her, which is great. She's a fun person, just not a fit for me I think. The D&D campaign went amazingly. My character actually ended up dying and then being resurrected by a different god in order to kill the big bad guy, and my character ending up dealing the finishing blow. We just started a new campaign that Matt is DMing this time and it's super fun so far. In other news, Matt actually proposed to me a few weeks ago and we just bought a house together. So things are great. And while I don't have tons of friends, the ones I do have are way more fun to play board games and D&D with, and I'm making a big effort in 2020 to make more friends. Wanted to thank everyone who gave me the advice on the first thread, particularly the person who gave me their permission to lie, haha. TLDR, formally ended the friendship with my friend after more crappy behavior from her, which was a little awkward, and am now engaged to my BF from the original post and obsessed with D&D.